My cousin Liam got a brand new BMW on his 17th birthday. I got a used bike with one missing pedal. That day, my aunt laughed and said, "Well, not everyone's meant for luxury." I smiled, but inside something cracked. If you've ever been underestimated by your own family, hit subscribe. Share this story, because this one's for every underdog who refused to give up. Since childhood, Liam was treated like royalty. Private schools, designer clothes, even his own gaming setup that looked like a movie set. Meanwhile, I was the quiet kid fixing old laptops just to earn a few bucks. Every family gathering felt like a comparison show. Liam this, Liam that. While my name was barely mentioned, I still remember Thanksgiving last year. My uncle joked, "Angel, maybe one day you'll get a real job instead of playing with wires." The whole table laughed. I laughed too, pretending it didn't sting. What they didn't know was that those wires were helping me build something real, something I'd been silently working on for years. Late nights, broken screens, and code after code. I was building an app that I believed could change my life. But I kept it secret, because I knew if they found out, they'd mock me again. Liam, on the other hand, got into a fancy business college, fully paid by his dad. He'd post pictures with captions like "hustle hard, play harder." Funny thing, he never hustled a day in his life. Last week, they invited me to Liam's success party, a celebration for him getting a job at his dad's firm. I almost said no, but something in me whispered go. I didn't know it then, but that night would change everything, for all of us. Because when I walked into that mansion filled with fake smiles and champagne glasses, I realized they still saw me as the failure. But by the time that night ended, they'd all be begging for my attention. The moment I stepped into that glowing mansion, I could feel the judgment in the air. Everyone looked polished, men in suits, women in glittery dresses, and there I was, in my plain shirt and old sneakers. Liam spotted me from across the room and smirked. "Wow, Angel actually showed up," he said loudly enough for everyone to hear. The laughter that followed burned through me like fire. I forced a smile. "Wouldn't miss your big night," I said calmly, even though my chest felt tight. His mother came over, looked me up and down, and whispered to another guest, "I can't believe he still dresses like that." The words were quiet, but they stabbed deep. Liam clinked his glass, gathering everyone's attention. "Let's raise a toast," he said, "to family, and to being successful before 30. He looked straight at me, that fake grin glued to his face. Everyone laughed again. I swallowed hard. They didn't know the silent storms I'd survived. While they toasted champagne, I slipped out to the balcony. The city lights stretched far below, like reminders of how small they thought I was. I opened my phone and glanced at my app's dashboard. 3.4 million downloads. Every ping, every new user notification was a secret victory they'd never imagined. I had launched it anonymously 6 months ago, a platform that connected freelancers to small businesses. I never put my name on it because I wanted to prove something, that success doesn't need a last name. "Still on your phone, Angel?" Liam's voice cut through the night. He'd followed me outside holding a drink. "You really should try networking instead of whatever it is you do." I looked at him, the boy who'd been handed everything, and smiled softly. "Don't worry, Liam, I'm working on something bigger than you think." He laughed. "Sure you are. Maybe one day you'll make enough to buy yourself a real car." He walked back inside, shaking his head. I stood there, watching him disappear into the crowd, and something inside me shifted. For years I'd stayed quiet. For years I let their laughter echo louder than my voice. But not anymore. Because tomorrow morning I was meeting someone, a potential investor who wanted to buy into my company. And if the deal went through, I wouldn't just own the business. I'd own the very building Liam's dad worked in. That thought alone made me smile for the first time that night. But the real twist? They were about to find out who the anonymous founder really was, and it would happen sooner than I planned. The next morning, I woke up before sunrise. My phone was buzzing with messages from users, updates from my small remote team, and one email that made my heart skip: the investor confirmation. They wanted to finalize the deal today. I stared at the screen for a long moment, realizing everything I had worked for: the sleepless nights, the humiliation, the years of being the nobody, had finally led to this. I threw on a clean shirt, ran a hand through my hair, and drove to the meeting in my beat-up car. When I reached the downtown office, the man waiting for me shook my hand with a smile. "Angel, I've been following your app for months," he said. "It's brilliant, scalable, profitable, and exactly what the market needs. I'm prepared to offer you a 7-figure deal for a minority stake." 7 figures. For a few seconds, I couldn't even speak. All I could see was every smirk, every insult, every dinner where I was made to feel like less. I finally said, "Deal." And when I walked out of that building, I didn't just feel successful. I felt free. By afternoon, the contract was signed. I officially became the major shareholder of the very business complex where Liam's dad's company rented offices. It was poetic justice in motion. That evening, my phone lit up again, a message from Aunt Carol. "Angel, sweetheart, we're having a small family dinner tonight. Everyone will be there. You should come." I stared at the screen, a little amused. After months of being ignored, suddenly I was being invited again. Maybe they'd heard rumors. Maybe fate was handing me the perfect setup. Either way, I decided to go. When I arrived, the same old energy filled the room. Fake smiles, loud bragging, and the same people who'd once laughed at me now pretending to be polite. Liam spotted me and chuckled. "Angel, you came. How's that tech thing going? Still fixing broken laptops?" I smirked. "Something like that." My uncle leaned back in his chair. "You should take notes from Liam," he said proudly. "He's getting promoted next month. Working under his father's roof really pays off." I took a deep breath, trying not to laugh. "That's great, Uncle. I'm happy for him." They didn't notice the phone in my hand, showing an email that had just come in. The building purchase had gone through. The company my uncle worked for? The one Liam was about to be promoted in? It now operated under a new landlord. Me, but I didn't say a word. Not yet. I wanted them to feel comfortable, overconfident. So when the right moment came, the truth would sting twice as deep. As dessert was being served, Aunt Carol leaned forward and asked sweetly, "So, Angel, any progress in your little tech dream?" I looked around the table, their smug faces, their fake concern, and smiled. "Yeah," I said slowly. "Actually, something big just happened today." The room went silent. Even Liam stopped eating. "Oh, really?" he said, mocking. "Did you sell a laptop?" I grinned. "Not exactly. But you'll find out soon enough," they laughed again. But not for long, because in less than 24 hours, every one of them would know the truth, that the person they mocked for being behind was now miles ahead. The next morning, my phone started blowing up before I was even out of bed. Dozens of missed calls, all from family. I sat up, confused, until I opened one of the voicemails from Liam's dad. His voice trembled. "Angel, we just got an email from the new property owner. Our lease agreement has been transferred. The new landlord wants to meet the company heads today. Do you know anything about this?" I couldn't help it. I laughed. For years, they made me feel invisible, and now suddenly they were desperate to talk to me. By noon, I arrived at the office building, my building now. Everyone was gathered in the conference room, including Liam and his father. The air was thick with confusion. Liam whispered something to his dad, who stared at me in disbelief as I walked in, confident and calm. "Angel?" his dad said, forcing a laugh. "What are you doing here?" I sat down across from him and placed the signed documents on the table. "I'm here because as of yesterday, this property officially belongs to me." The silence that followed was delicious. You could hear a pin drop. Liam blinked, his face draining of color. "You're joking, right?" I smiled. "I was the anonymous founder of TaskLink. You know, the platform your company's been using for remote hires? The one that just got acquired for 7 figures? Liam's father's jaw clenched. You built that?" Yeah, I said quietly. While you were all busy laughing at my broken laptops? Liam looked like someone had just ripped the floor out from under him. His father leaned back speechless as I continued. Don't worry. I'm not kicking anyone out, yet. I just thought you should know who your new landlord is before you sign any new leases. For a second, no one spoke. Then Aunt Carol blurted out, Angel, we didn't mean to hurt you. I cut her off gently. You did. But that's okay. If it weren't for that, I might never have pushed myself this hard. Liam stood up suddenly, defensive. This is insane. You can't just walk in here and act like you're better than us. I looked him straight in the eye. I don't need to act, Liam. I just stopped needing your approval. He froze, his ego collapsing in real time. Around us, people exchanged awkward glances, unsure what to say. Then my phone buzzed. Another email. The investor wanted to expand TaskLink internationally, starting with partnerships in Europe. I smiled and stood up. I have to run, I said. Some of us have meetings to attend. As I walked toward the door, I heard Liam's mother whisper, He really did it. But the real satisfaction came when I stepped outside, feeling the sun on my face, knowing every insult, every smirk, every whispered joke had led to this moment. Still, I wasn't done yet. Because that night they'd all see me again, this time not as the poor cousin, but as the man whose name they could never forget. That evening the family gathered again, this time for my aunt's anniversary dinner. I wasn't planning to go, but something inside me told me to show up, not out of pride, but closure. When I walked in, the room went silent. No one laughed this time. No smirks, no whispered insults. Just stunned faces staring at the cousin they used to call the failure. Aunt Carol stood up awkwardly. Angel, we're so glad you came, sweetheart, she said with that nervous smile people wear when they've been caught pretending. Liam sat in the corner, fidgeting with his drink, avoiding eye contact. I nodded politely. Didn't want to miss another family event, I said. After all, I missed a few while I was busy. Building. The silence was thick. My uncle finally spoke. We didn't know how successful you'd become. You should have told us, I chuckled. I did tell you. You just never listened. For a moment, everyone just stared at me. So I continued calmly but firmly. You all thought success came from money, connections, and status. But real success? I paused. It comes from not giving up when everyone's laughing. Liam finally looked up. His voice was low, shaky. Angel, I didn't mean to. I stopped him. Yeah, you did. But it's okay. You taught me something valuable, how to grow in silence. Then I reached into my jacket pocket and pulled out an envelope. And since you're all family, I said, handing it to my uncle, consider this my gift. He opened it, confused. It was a renewed 5-year lease for their company's office space. Signed and discounted by me. Aunt Carol gasped. You're giving them a discount? I smiled. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It just means I've moved on. Higher. Everyone's faces softened, realizing this wasn't revenge anymore. It was redemption. Liam stood up, voice cracking. You really made it, man. I'm proud of you. I looked at him for a long second, then extended my hand. Then prove it. Do something with your own hands, not just what's handed to you. He nodded slowly, tears in his eyes. As I left the dinner that night, I glanced back one last time. The same people who once pitied me now looked at me with genuine respect. Walking out into the cool night air, I smiled to myself. Not because I'd won, but because I finally didn't need to prove anything anymore. Sometimes the sweetest revenge isn't revenge at all. It's success in silence.